Hi everybody, Nigel here again from NigelShah.com, and hope that everything's been good with you guys and girls. So today I want to share with you what's been occupying my mind, and I think it's been a long time coming. How to retire early with 4 simple steps. This is the thing that's in my mind night and day for the last 20, 30 years, right? No, not 30, 20 years, right? And sometimes I feel that we like to complicate matters or life gets in the way. But I like to make it really, really very clear how you can really retire early and never worry about money again and have all the amount of passive income that you need, right? And I don't like fluff, right? So I go straight to the point. That's why most of my sharings are very basic with not much edits. So, 4 simple steps, okay? First step, you need to determine how much you need to spend a year. Basically, your expenses in a yearly basis. So you gotta be as detailed as possible. You gotta include your food, your rent, your mortgage, your utilities, such as your Netflix, your subscriptions, your cable, your phone, your internet, insurance that you pay for, and transport. Transport includes if you buy a car, and petrol, and taxes, and things like that. Okay, and of course, you need to have some buffer money. So you just need to be as detailed as possible, and you don't have to do this very often, but you should do it at least once a year. Okay, you have a rough idea what you're spending, right? So this is all about how much you need to spend a year. And then I give you my example of me right now on a general basis. So we spend about $1,000 a month. We spend about $4,000 on rent right now, which I can't stand. I'm going to buy my own place here. Actually, we're paying rent. We spend about $400 on utilities ish. Insurance $1,000. Transport $1,500, and then buffer just in case something happens. People get married or they see a doctor. So we spend about $8,900 a month. Per year, we spend about $106 grand. Okay, so this is how much we spend in a year roughly. All right. Then second, okay, take your yearly expense times 30. Okay, this is a buffered version of the Trinity study. The Trinity study says that all you need is 25 times of your annual spending, save and invested, and then you'll be free. I like to be a bit more safe, so I put times 30, right, based on my annual spending. So in my case, $8,900 a month times 12 months times 30 years, that's about 3.2 million. Why? Why this number? Why times 30, right? I'll go to the next slide and I'll show you, okay? Okay, so what you need to do, what I'm doing is that I'm taking all my investment, all my savings, all my earnings, all my profits and dividends to put into something that I understand, okay, that makes me at least 10% here, okay? I'm making very general right now and not saying anything specific because there's so many investments out there, from insurance investments to dividend stocks, which I love, to REITs, to index funds, to crypto. What you must understand is that you choose something that makes you at least 10% a year, that you understand. Okay, it cannot be something that you cannot grasp at all. The harder is it for you to understand, don't do it. Choose something that you understand that makes you at least 10% a year. It could be rental properties, it could be REITs, it could be dividend stocks, whatever. Okay. So based on 3.2 million times 10% a year, that's about 320k a year. Ta-da! Right? Yeah, yes and no. But Nigel, I thought you only need 106k. Yes, that's true. I'll explain in further slides. Okay. So if you understand the way I do things, I would like to have buffers. So I always have extra. Based on 10% return, technically 1.6 million is enough. So 1.6 million times 10%. See, if I go with this 1.6 million times 10%, that will give me 160k. Right? So technically I don't need to save up to 3.2. 1.6 million invested. It's good enough for me. Yeah, it's actually good enough for me. I should change my numbers. But assuming I'm going with this, okay, 3.2 million, right? Let me go explain why over here, okay? Oh, it doesn't show. Shit. Okay, never mind. The reason why I do it this way is because I like to have buffers. Number one, buffer. Number two, instead of eating the whole 10%, I reinvest half. So 20k, I'll reinvest 160k. Right? Then eat the remaining 160k. Correct. This is what I do. Buffer, let me go back to buffer. The reason why I buffer is that I buffer for error, for mistakes, and inflation. Because inflation goes up year on year. So your $1,000 today can buy $1,000 of stuff today, right? But in 10 years time, your $1,000 today may not buy you the same amount of stuff. Your money may have eroded by then. Possibly you can only buy maybe $700 worth of stuff then. So I always need to make sure that there's always reinvestment. Okay? I always need to consider reinvestment. You do the same thing, you must consider reinvestment. And factoring for inflation and mistakes. Sometimes we make mistakes, sometimes I screw up because it's stupid money, right? And that's the reason why I have more buffers. So remember my buffers, okay? My first buffer is times 30. Yeah, my first buffer is times 30 instead of times 25. So that's additional, maybe close to 15% buffer, right? Then over here, I buffer extra, okay? So there are double prong buffer. Okay, let's go. Okay, the hardest part of doing this is that people always tell me, oh, Nigel, it's so hard. 3.2 million is too crazy. Or even 1.6 million is so hard. Of course it's hard. If it's easy, everybody will do it. Okay? So, but we do things that are hard because they're worthy. Right? Not just because they're easy. If you want to do something easy, just go scoop an ice cream or some shit. But you and I want you to have a better life. A richer life. We would like to do better shit, right? Okay. So, the hardest part is to repeat points 1, 2, 3. Technically, point number 2 is the hardest because it requires a lot of patience, requires a lot of time, requires you to not give up. And it's so easy to give up, okay? But even though it may be very hard, very frustrating, to me it's both hard and scary, but also exciting. Because you know what? I know it's doable. It's really doable. And for me personally, I'm more aggressive. I'm not going to wait like until I'm 80 years old before I can retire. I can't wait that long. And I hope that, and I pray that you do not wait for until you're 70 years old to retire. You shouldn't. Okay? If you can help it. To have drive, be hungry, right? It's my personal goal. It will be immensely satisfying for me to retire early, for me to have more than enough passive income to retire and live my life the way I want to live. I may not start working, but it's just something that I want to achieve. It's for me. And that's why I think it's satisfying. It's just a personal goal. And my personal goal may be different from yours, right? But I find that if you get money out of the way of life, it's going to be a lot more fun. Okay? And I believe in enjoying along the way. It's not just about, I'm going to wait 20 years before I can enjoy, or I'm going to wait 30 years before I can enjoy. No. I can't do that. You can't do that. It's too hard that way. So, I'll show you an example, right? So, let me just straighten this up. Okay, if you go back on this back on this point about repeating points number 2 and 3, which is to accumulate times 30 over time, okay, and investing the extra into something that makes you 10% per year, okay? So let's say for me, my goal is to hit 3.2 million. Remember, 1.6 million is enough for me. But let's say I go with a buffered version. So assuming I can save 2k a month, sorry. The number's correct. No, 1k a month. 1k a month if I save, okay, that means 1 year 12k. First year 12k plus 10%, at the end of it, instead of having 12k, I have 13.2. At year 2, instead of having 24k, I have 27.7. Year 3, 80.5. Year 10, 10. Year 20, 750,000. And then year 35, I have 3.5 million. I have more than enough then. This is where I can retire. But year 35, if I'm fresh grad at 20 years old, it means I can retire by 55, which is okay, which is fairly fine, because the retirement age nowadays are much lower than that, much later than that. People are retiring at 65, 70. So 55 is okay. Technically, early-ish. Okay, it's decent. Assuming you're 20. Okay, but if you're 40 plus 35 years, 75 years, it's a bit too late, right? Okay, cannot. So how I game myself, I gamify, right? My trick is to eat some dividends along the way, between 10 to 50%. That means if my dividends are maybe $1 grand a year, I'll eat $500. I don't know, go for a trip, buy a pair of shoes, okay? Because it needs to also give me the motivation to accumulate more. If I accumulate without spending, I lose the meaning. Yes, I can use it for my kids, blah, 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 but you gotta enjoy the journey. You really gotta enjoy the journey. So, take a portion of your dividends, of the fruits of your labor, eat it, and reinvest as much as you can. Okay? And then what? So, if I hit my numbers really, then if I follow the process, then what? Maybe you can hack it a bit, make some tweaks so that you can either earn more, invest more, or decrease the amount that you need. So this you can do by increasing your savings rate. So instead of saving 1K a month, you save 2K a month, right? If you can increase your earnings, this is like, starting a side hustle where you can make another 10, 20 grand a year, throw it in, you shave down the time a lot. In fact, one of the strongest way is to spend less on things that don't matter as much. So like my family, right now we're spending about 100K, 160 a year, right? So we're going to buy a property soon. So instead of paying 4K a month on rent, I realized our rental our mortgage cost will cost about 3.5. So that's a savings from 4,000 to 3.5. And every year I plan on paying it down so that my amount goes lower and lower that I pay every month. So that eventually I won't need 106K a year. I probably need about maybe 80 grand, 70 grand a year. And that means that, let's go to this, okay? If I make my expenses 75 grand a year and I save 2K a month, instead of me needing 3.2 million to retire early, based on my dividends for my 3.2 million, I only need 2.5 million because I go based on how much you need. 30 times of your annual spending. So if my previous annual spending was 106K a year, going to 75K, right now the number has changed. I need 2.25 million. Okay, and an investment rate of 2K a month, 2,000 a month, at 10% return per year, I can hit 2.25 million in 24 years instead of 35. Okay, if you calculate, right, 24 divided by 35 years, that means, what's that? Let me see. 24 divided by 35. Basically, a savings of about 1/3, 32% time saved. It's very important. So, for example, if let's say I'm 40 this year, to retire in 24 years is significant compared to retire in 35. 40 plus 24 is 64. Not young, but not as old as 40 plus 35, which is 75 years old, right? So for me, I prioritize with some time because my time is finite. Your time is finite too. You can't live like you're gonna live forever. One day God might just say, "Come, let's go. We're gone." Okay, so that's why I keep driving in. Retire early. Sort out your numbers. So that you won't worry about money again. Sort out your numbers. Retire early. Invest more. And that's why I keep driving again and again and again. It's like a broken record. It's important enough for me. And then what? Then what? I don't know about you, man. Maybe I'll retire my wife. I don't think she'll retire. Maybe spend more time with the kids. Maybe teach. Maybe earn more for fun. Maybe the company listed, right? Maybe pick up painting, or farming. I don't know, man. Who knows? My job and what I'm so focused on right now is to retire early and to get as many people with me to retire early. Using very simple framework that anybody can do. The only challenge is patience and time. So the only way to hack your early retirement is to really earn more. Earn more over here. Increase your savings to investment. Increase your savings to investment. Increase your earnings to investment, and to spend less. And this is what I'm really driving home. Come, think about it. These are good things. These are important things to really retire early. Maybe instead of just just spending time with your wife, retiring wife. Maybe some of you want to be more generous to your parents, or maybe you want to be more generous to your loved ones. Maybe you want to have personal trainers. Maybe you want to spend more money on good food. Good food from, be it high-end restaurants or organic food, whatever. Or take more holidays. Whatever rocks your boat. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what a rich life, a good life, is what I believe in. So that's all I have for you today. Hope you enjoyed this session. If you like what I'm sharing, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. Take care, boys and girls. Bye.